Ace's makeup, his jagged design, for him symbolized being a spaceman.
Ace has always been spacey and stuff, and he would verbalize it. And then stand up straight and equilibrium.
Peter felt like a cat, or it felt like he had 9 lives.
Peter just shrugged his shoulder up. I like cats. And he put on the cat just like that.
But it all worked beautifully together. That was the start. We were stage ready to go out there and take on the world. Then it was, okay, what are we going to call ourselves? And I knew, be it a kiss of death, a passionate kiss, it just made so much sense. You know, I took a deep breath and said, what about Kiss?
Ladies and gentlemen, Kiss!
You originally put whiteface on and had a round circle like Pete the dog.
Petey the dog.
On the Little Rascals, young Little Rascals. And it may have been Ace who said, you're the rock star, you want to be a rock star. Why don't you put 2 stars on your eyes? And how did you wind up with 1?
I think it's because my face is asymmetric, or was, because of my ears, that I think I fell into, you know, something asymmetric. I remember seeing Gene's hair on top of his head and thinking, that's so cool. I almost was going to take all my hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and pull it up to the top of my head. But there was a physical aspect that I didn't want to reveal. We started doing gigs, but we were never part of the New York scene. We were outcasts to the outcasts.
Unlike other New York bands that would play Max's Kansas City and the Mercer Arts Center, Kiss were playing at a hole in the wall in Queens called Coventry, or they were playing in Abbeville, New York, and Daisy. These places were 45 minutes away, but they were almost lifetimes away in the sense of the New York scene.
I never wanted to be the best band in New York. I wanted to be the best band in the world.
Everything we did ourselves. You know, we had to create ourselves, design our own logo, literally make our own clothes. We did a black t-shirt, put blue Kiss logo, and then poured glitter on it. Do whatever it is you gotta do to set yourself apart. Just figure out yourself what makes you special. Recreate a Kiss. Out of nowhere, out of our imagination.
Those first shows, I think there were probably 5 people. And we was the boss. But we got in full makeup, went up there.
When we first walked out, all right, here they are, nobody cares. And then within 2 or 3 songs, everybody goes nuts.
We played like it was Madison Square Garden. And the audiences grew.
I remember being on a little small stage and looking across and seeing rock stars. The look, the song, all we needed was a demo.
Gene and I had done a lot of sessions at Electric Lady Studios. We would sing backups on anything where they needed extra singers, and we would get paid. So we said, instead of paying us, give us studio time, and you have to get Eddie Kramer.
For his credits at the time, you couldn't get higher. Hendrix, the Beatles, Zeppelin.
Eddie was lofty. This would be monumental, a game changer for us.
I said, does everybody want a boogie? Woo! All right!
Eddie Kramer came to see us live, and he got it right away.
It was insane. Kabuki theater stuff, 4, 5, 6-inch boots, and just the energy. It was just such a magical transformation of the boys into those persona. So I said, I'll do it, but we gotta do it the old-fashioned way. 4-track.
In Studio B right here, we recorded Black Diamond, Watching You, She, Strutter, Deuce. Those first demos, I put them on today. Still sounds good because it's honest.
There's a purity and a naivete about it. The passion was undeniable.
What to do?
Eddie Kramer just let us be authentically us.
Those demos, that was done in one day.
When we listened back to it in totality, 5 or 6 songs, gee, this sounds like a band.
That's what we went shopping for a deal with. Whenever we would play, we would send invitations out to all the managers, booking agents, whoever. And at one of those shows, somebody had come from Rocksteady, somebody named Bill O'Coin. He was a television producer. He had no background as a manager, but he just seemed to get us.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get you a deal within 2 weeks, or we'll just call it quits.
So we signed. And right away, this guy, Neil Bogart, shows up, debuting a new record label called Casablanca Records.
Casablanca Record and Filmworks.
And we would be the first act on Casablanca.
Music's gonna be fabulous. Entertainment's gonna be spectacular.
Neil and Bill, their vision went so far beyond ours. And also Bill's boyfriend, Sean.
Sean Delaney was actually the guy
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. It's working.
who first set up video cameras for us.
Put your 2 lips together, ladies and gentlemen. Kiss! Kiss! Kiss!
And so we were able to see ourselves for the first time.
I was stunned at what I saw. I wasn't doing anything. Going like this from 20 feet away looks like nothing. That was a wake-up call. I realized the stage is prime real estate, and you've got to use up as much of it as possible. Legs apart, arms open. Everything has to be seen from 300 feet away. We were in rehearsal one day, and I think just by chance we did this. And when we finished the song, Sean said, wait a minute. Do that move where you rock back and forth.
And the reaction, I have to say, was like, well, we're not the Temptations.
I don't want to be Paul Revere and the Raiders, you know, all of us jumping around together.
He goes, don't worry about that. You're at KISS. You can do anything.
And sure enough, we're still doing it today.
Neil Bogart, with our manager, Bill O'Coin, they said, if you're going to be a live band, let's put together the biggest, loudest statement of any band ever. The only way you're going to get attention from the masses is by doing things much, much bigger. There was Neil Bogart who had the idea, I want the drum riser to levitate. They went up maybe 6 feet. But nobody'd ever done that.
We went up to Bill's office one day, and there was somebody else in the room. Could have been Amazo the magician. He said, who's this guy?
Bill O'Coin said, you guys are doing a song called Firehouse. One of you guys has to spit fire.
Who wants to try?
Literally the very first show we did, my hair went up like a matchstick. And the fans loved it.
Bill was also the guy who came up with the idea, you guys are never going to be seen without makeup.
He said to us, Marilyn Monroe, she never took a photo where she looked frumpy without her makeup. Whenever you saw her, she was Marilyn Monroe 24 hours a day. That's what you guys should be doing. So we did. Our first album came out early February 1974.
The first album was all those great songs that we had been playing at Coventry.
It's crazy when you think about it. There was nothing out there like us.
It had to work. We were unstoppable.
They went out on the road and just kicked ass for pretty much 2 years.
Bondage gear, blood spurting, overkill kabuki makeup, Gene's tongue getting closer to Ace, and Ace sort of recoiling back, but not too far back. Billowing smoke, shooting rockets across the stage. Kiss was about to be the most dangerous and feared band in America.
Please welcome warmly a most unusual band, Kiss.
Those first 2 or 3 tours, it was us against the world. 200 shows the first year in a station wagon, doubling up on rooms, making a glorious $75 a week. But it was a magical time.
When we went out on our first tour, our parents drove us to the airport like we were going to summer camp. And we were going to a whorehouse.
Chicks. You wake up with girls whose name you never bothered to learn. Wow, this is a good job.
What we had been singing about and fantasizing about, it actually existed just the way we thought it did. We were experiencing this together for the first time.
It was like all for one, one for all, like brothers.
It was a constant party, and it was great.
Sure, there was some drinking, and sure, there was some drugs, but the shows were killer. Every single show we would get encores, and our road manager noticed that the headlining act, I think it was Argent, kept pulling our power so we couldn't do encores. At the end of one of our sets, all of a sudden, wow, we have power, let's go back out again. Then we heard that our road manager had pulled one of these Bowie knives on the tour manager and locked him in one of their road cases.
We went across America, wound up on the West Coast, and literally ran out of bands to play with because they kicked us off tours because we kept blowing them off the stage.
We were literally stuck there. We didn't have enough money to go home, and we had shows coming up in 2 weeks.
We're staying at a motel someplace in San Francisco.
And we're eating beans and hot dogs out of a pot. How cool are we? The first album, I think it sold about 60,000 copies. And it wasn't a big success. So we put out another album.
A big San Francisco welcome for our special guest tonight, Kiss.
She looked hotter than hell, all dressed in satin.
Right around that time, we had a moment of sobriety with our record company president. You guys are costing me a fortune. You don't have hit singles, and that's okay. I'll stick with you, but you keep getting thrown off tours. I don't know how to tell you this, but you need to stay on a tour. Could you be less good? And we literally said something like, no way. You can't put a tiger out there in front of lambs and everything. Do you mind just walking by that lamb and don't tear its throat out? No, I'm a tiger. That's what I do.
When I discovered him, I was 15, just turned 16. And I was one of the very first Kiss fans that I was ever aware of, because I saw them in a magazine called Rock Scene. And that was their first time in a magazine.
This had to have been back in 1974, and I got to the very back of Circus magazine, and I saw this crazy hair and makeup. I go, what the hell is this?
Then after I saw them in concert, seeing them seals the deal.
Kiss was my first concert, and my ticket said a partial view of Kiss. Now, I thought they were going to be revealing some deep corner of their poetic souls. It really meant that my seat was behind a pole at the side of the stage. Despite that, it was still the most invigorating, energizing, exciting 2 hours of rock and roll music that I've seen to this day.
Early on, the audience was there to see the headliner, but soon enough, people were showing up at the concerts wearing our makeup.
Believe in rock and roll!
Kiss first broke in the Midwest, and as a Illinois lad myself, that is not surprising to me. The coasts may have been more drawn to T-Rex and Bowie, but Kiss really spoke to suburban kids like myself. Like, you know, you're trapped in some conservative suburb where the best you can hope for ever is to maybe get a job at the Dairy Queen. And along comes Kiss. And I could really see why it was Cleveland, why it was Detroit. The working class bombast felt like it was built for the industrial Midwest.
Kiss represented something more than just music. Kiss seemed like theater. Kiss seemed like fantasy.
We had the most expensive show out there.
Come on and clap your hands!
And the scale kept getting bigger. We were selling out concerts, but the problem was, in those days, record labels didn't get any money from live concerts. All they got were the records. And so the labels losing money hand over fist.
I seem to remember Bill Coyne saying to me, you know, these guys are in a little bit of trouble.
Neil Bogart mortgaged his house. And he had kids and a marriage and all that.
The record company's really in dire straits. So the key factor here was Bill Coyne. Bill Coyne used his American Express card to continue to finance touring.
He was going into great mountains of debt, and he was being chased by the creditors and was running away as quick as he could.
We didn't have hit singles, no album sales, nothing.
And so financially, we were in a lot of trouble. We were all in a lot of trouble.
We thought the problem was that we were not played on radio at all.
Rock stations receive an average of 100 singles a week. Well-known groups can get their stuff on. For the unknowns to get on, somebody must be willing to take a chance.
Stereo 101, chipping away at the rock.
Make your ears bleed. It actually started organically in Terre Haute, Indiana. The radio station there wasn't playing Kiss.
This is early 1975. The local radio station, which was just a brick enclosure outside of town with an antenna on top in the middle of a cow pasture.
WVTS is now broadcasting.
A few people got together.
There was a guy named Starkey.
He got in touch with the radio station.
He said, listen, you gotta play Kiss, it's my favorite band.
If you don't play Kiss, the Kiss Army will surround the station.
BTS with Evans. Still nobody's out there.
The radio station thought that was very funny, but lo and behold, when they didn't play Kiss,
Bill Starkey is here. You don't believe me? I've got my money out there.
The radio station was surrounded.
And that's where the Kiss Army was born.
I've never seen something like this. I've been doing rock and roll for 2.5 years, but I've never seen such mass participation.
It's a volunteer army. What could be better than having people volunteer to wave the flag?
The fans and the band fell in love with each other. They tattooed their bodies with our faces. They named their children after our songs. There's some kind of authentic soul connection.
Anything else before we want? Let's play some Kiss music.
But we still needed to write a hit.
third record, Casablanca was in deep trouble. We made 2 albums right away the first year, neither sold. The third album, Neil Bogart decided to jump on and produce it for us.
We were back in New York City and trying to cut costs where we could. If you look at Dress to Kill, the album cover, most of us didn't own suits, but Bill O'Coin, our manager, had closets full of suits. So we got suits from Bill, and I'm wearing my dad's shoes, because all my shoes at that point had 8-inch heels, and that's all I had.
And then we met at Neil Bogart's office at Casablanca Records. He said, you guys know who you are and all that stuff, but you haven't told us. Politicians have a political platform. Hamburgers can have it your way. We don't know what you stand for. You guys should write an anthem. And I'd never heard that word before, and I didn't know what it meant.
And said, what do you mean by an anthem? And he said, well, Sly and the Family Stone have I Want to Take You Higher, or Dance to the Music, songs their audience identify with.
Where the words tell people what you believe in and who you are.
And it was really perceptive. The idea of having a rallying cry, a rallying song.
And we went, wow, that's kind of cool. So Paul and I started strumming guitar. How about this, how about that? I had a song called Drive Me Wild about a girl as a car. But it didn't have a chorus. And then Paul said, why not like a party song?
I wanted to be a preacher of rock and roll and sing about the glory of this incredible music. It celebrated life. But how do you put this into a nutshell? How concise can this be? And I picked up the guitar and I went, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I want to rock and roll. So that it was emphatic and it went right back to it.
And when you stuck those 2 bits together,
it was magic.
It's just one of those songs. It's like Happy Birthday.
Basically says it all in the title, and it's one way of looking at the world, which is I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. There are some other problems in the world that maybe we need to deal with, but that's for other bands.
I just want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I've been there. It's fun.
we thought it was going to be a big hit single, but it became what's called a turntable hit. It got played a lot, but it didn't sell through. Dress to Kill bombed. Neil had to resort to going to certain people with vowels at the end of their last names. Let's not go farther than that. To borrow money.
He was calling in favors. You know, we'll make good on this payment, but if you could give me a few more months. At that point, I think it was a pretty precarious situation.
Casablanca, they were really down to the last dollar. We hadn't broken through with records. We had 3 studio albums that just didn't sell. They didn't go gold. And so the record company just went, well, you know, we don't want to do another studio record. It's going to be too expensive. Let's just put out a live record.
The first 3 studio albums really never captured the essence of what the band was live. So we went back to Eddie Kramer. He was the right person to do it.
So I'm sitting in my office and I get a phone call. Hey, Eddie, it's Neil Bogart. Do you want to do a Kiss album live? The enormity of the sound, you know, the fans, the PA, the smoke, the bombs, the blood coming from Gene. I mean, it's a total immersion in Kiss. Trying to capture that madness on tape, this is a big challenge.
Alive was the big gamble. If it didn't hit with the seismic force that Kiss needed and Bill Aucoin and Casablanca needed, I think the whole thing would have went belly up.
live, you listen to those songs, they weren't reinventing rock and roll. They were just doing their ballistic version of it. Huge, live, and Kiss.
Nobody would listen to that and go, gee, I went to a Kiss concert. That's not what it was like. It is exactly what it was like.
But initially, when we bring the tapes back to Electric Lady, Gene and Paul said, nah, we gotta make it sound bigger.
We wanted to put you in the center of the audience.
We took every tape machine that we could find in the building and ran 100-foot loops of tape. And we had high screams, low screams, clapping, all these different things to just...
We wanted you to hear the chaos going around. But when you set off bombs, microphones collapse. So we replaced them with pre-recorded cannon.
Let me just say this. There is some contention in the ranks as to how much overdubbing was done.
Were there mistakes? Sure. Do you want to hear a mistake every time you listen to a song? No. So wherever playing needed to be redone, we replayed.
I can assure you, in my memory banks, it was a stuff we had to do. But it sounds great.
That album is considered one of the greatest live albums. Not because it's exactly what happened, but because it captures what a Kiss concert was and is.
So we finished the album, we liked it, and Neil Bogart calls me and says, hey Gene, I've been talking to your manager, he's not sending me the master tapes. I need that to put the record out. And I said, you owe us radio royalties. Send the check and we'll send the tapes. And I'll never forget this. Neil Bogart, who I thought was my friend and was always a big supporter and everything, but I think was scared to death because he allegedly and purportedly borrowed money from the wrong kinds of people. Well, Neil Bogart says, listen, you don't know who you're dealing with. You're gonna send me those tapes or I'm gonna break your legs. We still didn't send the album until he sent us the money.
Kiss Alive came out and took off like a bloody rocket.
Rock and Roll All Night live version went top 10. It was a hit.
The studio version, you know, sounded okay, but when you hear the live version and the audience just chanting with them, come on. You can't replace that. That thing saved the company's ass.
Less than 2 years ago, Kiss came to Detroit. And now they've sold 1 million records!
Kiss Alive sells 1 million records right away.
We couldn't have done this without Detroit!
We were the second platinum album in history. The first one was Eagles, and within an hour, Kiss Alive.
We really love you!
That was the beginning.
What is most important to you, the spectacle or the music? The audience. The audience. How do you want your ideal audience to feel when you finish with them?
Exhausted. The connection between the fans and the band comes from a sense of reciprocity. We give back what we are given, and that snowballs.
You know, we've said it before, and we're gonna say it again. You people are #1!
We were having a great time. We were really digging being famous, and it did happen quick for Kiss. We got together, I believe, 71, 72, and then 76, we were styling. I think each one of us was really digging the limos and the dressing up with the best of clothes we could buy now. We thought we were really hide your daughter's kisses in town.
A lot of people have come up that want to taste the tongue.
Hobnobbing with all the other rock stars. It was very cool. It was a very cool time. But I wanted that high all the time. When we'd leave the stage, I had to bring it back to my room. So I partied, and I just kept taking it with me in that stage. You gotta know when to leave it and when to have it.
The things that I sang about, everything I envisioned became real. The kid who had to chase girls wound up being chased. And the kid who was not popular became very popular. But when Kiss Alive came out and became a big hit, Bill, in his wisdom, said, you might have this huge success now, but you need a great studio album, not like the last few.
And in short order, he said, there's a guy named Bob Ezrin. He should be producing you. He'd worked with Alice Cooper. It was a big deal.
I was pretty successful. I'd had a couple of really big records, and I was pretty full of myself. I thought I had the answers to everything, and that made me perfectly suited to working with Kiss.
Bob really took us to another level. I learned a lot from Bob. He opened my eyes to sonically what was possible with other instruments, like with piano, replicating what a guitar was playing to give it more depth.
We were venturing into new areas for Kiss.
To me, their characters, they were like big screen characters, and I wanted to treat them like that in the music that we made. So the stories we told were more dramatic, and they were about people other than just themselves. Detroit Rock City, that was like a mini symphony. It's like a piece of rock theater.
He had so many creative ideas. He was a big influence, musically, lyrically.
He'd say, I don't like that part, but I like that part.
Okay, that's the verse. Who's got the chorus?
And here's what the solo is going to be. Ba-da-da-da. Every note of that solo was Bob Ezrin. He told Ace what to play. Here's the harmony part. And it was great.
That was not a very rock and roll approach, and to Ace's credit, I mean, he was the most rock and roll guy of the group. It just didn't sit right with him.
The Destroyer sessions were tough.
There was a lot of structure, more structure than they were used to. And yes, I wore a whistle, and yes, I used to blow it to get their attention, because we didn't have time to mess around. We had to move.
Paul and I liked the go back to rock school. The other guys hated it. And so we started to see some difficulties.
People ask if I was aware of the tensions within the band. That's like saying, well, when you were walking through the train wreckage, did you notice that there was an accident?
Bob kind of ran the show like a dictator, and we weren't used to that. None of us were. You know, we all have big egos.
That's when we started to see the first big problems go down with Ace.
Ace was struggling a little bit. You know, he partied a lot, he was late coming in. Sometimes he just didn't show up on a session where we were supposed to be doing lead guitar.
I'm on the phone with Ace. You got to come down and play a solo. You weren't here for the tracks. You got to come down. Yeah, I can't come down. Why not? I got a card game. So we got another guitar player to come in and play the parts, which were great.
I think he started feeling alienated and ganged up on, and the truth is he was.
I've never been high or drunk in my life. Just haven't. Just never appealed to me, so I never emotionally understood it.
Really, he was just being what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a rock star. And he was being a rock star. And look, in New York in 1976, cocaine was everywhere. Your dentist had it, your lawyer. Every rock star, for sure, had access to it, whether they took it or not. So, yes, I had cocaine. And yes, I recall doing it together with some of the members of the band.
I was doing coke, trying to keep up with Ezra, which was an impossibility. But I think personally, that album, Ezra did everything perfect for it.
I have to say that any drug use to me is excessive. But Bob